Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Phoebe. This is Moonshine Stitchery, and this is an update about everything I've been stitching on in the last couple weeks. Cross stitch is what we're talking about. So, welcome if you are new. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming to join me today. And I'm super excited to share with you what I've been stitching on. I have enjoyed every stitching moment, and I hope you've had a lot of time to stitch as well too. I didn't have so much stitchy time because of Thanksgiving and different festivities and concerts that came up and different things. Everything that I needed to be at. I'm sure you're experiencing the same thing this time of year as well. But I did have time to have a new start on Thanksgiving, just a little one because we were out with family for most of the day. So yes, I had a new start and I have a number of WIPs. That stands for works in progress. I will also share a little bit of haul after that, and then we'll talk about my plans for what I'm going to be stitching on in the next couple weeks. And then at the very end, we will talk about what I've been reading while I've been stitching the last couple weeks. And so that's our agenda for today. So I think that I'll just start pulling from my WIPs. I didn't have any finishes. I had big plans to do some Foley finishes this last couple weeks because I have some pillows to finish up and a couple things to frame. But whenever it was time, whenever I had stitchy time, I just wanted to stitch and not finish. So yeah, I didn't get around to it. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get started with my WIPs. I'm going to start with my bestie. This is Elizabeth from Garden Prelude, and she hangs out with me every single day. I stitch on her every day, usually at the beginning of any stitchy time I have for that day, and I do 2 strands and then put her away. So since this is on a 32 count, this is a Mirabilia, it's called Garden Prelude. Since this is on 32 count wide chelt, I'm using 2 strands over 2. And I'm using all the called for DMC and specialty flosses. And so I will pull out 2 strands, put those in, and then 2 strands, put those in. And that is my way of getting continual progress on Elizabeth. This is my oldest WIP. So I was working down here a lot in the last couple weeks, but I finished the full outline, and then so we got all the way around, and then I've just been working on, I'm just gonna go kind of go and try to fill it all in like that. The sound effects are very important. So I just love her. That's why she's my bestie. She comes and hangs out with me every day, and I enjoy having her company. And I just love the colors so much. I'm almost done with a few of my flosses that said that they are gonna need a second skein. And so, that very light blue, I think it's 828, and there's 2 DMCs that require 2 full skeins, so I'm making my way through this project. So I just absolutely love her. So that is my 2 strand a day stitching that you'll continue to see till she's done. Next up, I'm just kind of pulling from my WIP pile. This is the most recent thing that I stitched on. Oh, I guess I was gonna put that floss away and I didn't. There's a needle. So last video I rolled that I was gonna stitch on Ann Dale. So I was stitching on this yesterday, and I think a little bit the day before. This is a very light green piece of fabric that I've overdyed for Ann. She is from Shakespeare's Peddler. And so this was all pretty much done from there over, with the exception of like a few things in here. This urn was maybe like halfway done. So I finished that up and moved over to here. And I also pulled this zigzaggy over some more. And that's all I ended up getting done in 2 days. But I love her so much. I'm almost done with the top row. The colors are just so striking. I'm using the called for MPIs and other specialty silks with this one. And you may notice that mine looks a little bit different. The original that this is inspired by has these big red flowers up at the top in this specific motif, but the pattern has this color here. No, has this there and like like the ecru color, which is here, it's kind of ghosting there. And so I decided, when I came into this urn, I guess I decided to put the red in to make it look like the original. So then when I got over to this, I started stitching it like it's called for, and see how you can barely see that flower. And so I looked it up and I was like, wait a second, it's not symmetrical when I put that color there. So I had to look it up and see that, I guess once upon a time when I stitched this, I had made that decision and I forgot to make a note to myself. So I'd already put these in. I didn't really feel like taking them out. So I was like, Heidi, what should I do? She said, just put the red below and it's okay if it's not symmetrical. So I thought, yes, that's a great idea. So if you want to see somebody having finished this, you can go to Nerissa's channel, Nerissa's Stitching Lifestyle. All the channels that I mentioned today will be in the description bar below. Speaking of channels, I have been really loving a couple channels. Andrew the Running Stitcher, he is just the runner stitcher on YouTube, but his name is Andrew, and I have been really enjoying watching his videos lately. He's just a ray of sunshine. His stitching is beautiful, plus he also likes running, and I've been trying to grow my running. I've been trying to make running gains lately, and so that's inspiring for me as well, and always fun to hear about. So I don't know why I'm holding this up. I'm talking about channels that I've been loving. So Andrew's channel, definitely go give him a watch. I'm sure you already watch him. And Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher, I have been very influenced by her to start like every Christmas small. She is starting a lot of things right now, but she finishes a lot of stuff too. She also makes and sells bags, so go check her stuff out. She makes gorgeous bags, but she has started so many Brenda Gervais projects lately, and I'm just like, that would be really fun to start a whole bunch of smalls at the end of the year, and then it will give you a bunch of finishes in 2025. But, you know, I love to start every big, giant project. I'm going to take this needle out and put it right here in my shirt. Hopefully I don't stab myself with it while we're chatting. Okay, so there's Big Ann. This is, sorry, it's called Ann Dale from Shakespeare's Peddler, and I'm stitching this with Heidi Whips and Kits, and this is a 40 count over dyed by me. This is not a color you can currently find on my website. We will talk about some more Moonshine Stitchery fabric later on in the video. I stitched on a lot of my stitch along projects this week, so you guys, if you're returning, you'll know that I have been trying to make, it is slow, but it's steady progress on Louisa Barny. I'm stitching this with Heidi from Whips and Kits and Kim from Contented Needleworker Kim. This is a Reflets Soie pattern, and Kim has been making tremendous progress on this. Go check her out. She's almost done. It's awesome. I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count, again, that I over dyed for this. A little bit more of a dramatic dye on this one. It's a huge piece, again. And I'm using a floss conversion from Needle in a Haystack that Heidi and I are both using, and Kim is using the DMCs, and they look gorgeous. So definitely go give it a look. So this time, we stitch on this together every Monday, and this time, my needle's down here. I'm thinking I was just working in here. So I think I was filling out a lot of these greens and trying to just like make sure everything's done. I've been highlighting my page. I have a working copy, and I've been highlighting it to make sure I don't miss any little confetti pieces, but this is a very joyful stitch as well, especially stitching it with buddies, but it's a little bit more on the difficult side for me. This is half of a bird. That's the bird's butt. So, but that's where the page ends. So I need to extend that over, but I guess I'm just continuing down with the border. So that's the vibe. So that's Louisa Barny. Another stitch along that I am stitching with Flosstube friends is Dwelling Place from Teresa Kogut. I began this stitch last Thanksgiving with Jan, Hoop It Up with Jan, and Laurel, I'm a Stitch Nerd. And Jan is already finished. I haven't checked lately to see Laurel's progress, but here's where I'm at. So, it's actually not so bad for me with how many WIPs that I have. This piece is like cooking along. I think because she has bigger elements, and these letters, they're all like very simple. So anyway, this time I finished out these 2 rows of the alphabet. I don't think I did anything with the border, but I finished this bird, and then these were started, but I came down, and then I think either this is completely new, or I think maybe just the outlining is new. It's such a pretty project. So I am just really, really loving it. I think I'm stitching this on a 36 count. It's dyed by me. This one is also not one that's currently on my website, but I do have something pretty close to this to share with you later. So yeah, I'm really loving this. It's just, I mean, I will stitch on anything Teresa has designed pretty much, with the exception of like pumpkin heads. I don't care for pumpkin heads. But here's my flosses. I did my own conversion because I like kitting up from stash. It just makes it more fun. So there's like every different brand in there, plus flosses that I dyed myself. So it's really, really fun, and I am excited to get this one out again. And then this is a good time to share with you my new start, because this is my Thanksgiving 2024 start. Also stitching with Laurel from I Am a Stitch Nerd and Hoop It Up with Jan Holder. And that's this project here, and God Saw. And I have a very measly start on this. Jan started in the very middle of the project. Laurel started where I did, but she has this whole flower built out. That flower is going to be stitched using this floss from Cottage Garden Threads. I love using a highly variegated specialty floss for like big flowers in a pattern. So that's the start of that. You can see the variegation coming through in there. And then I did my own conversion from stash again. Just a lot of really this color here, in case you're interested, is Fireplace from Cottage Garden Threads. I need to punch a hole in there and write on the back what it is, and then I can put that floss on there. But I have MPIs in here. I have weeks. I think that there were 2 weeks that I had. I had Oscar and Tarragon, and they're called for. Everything else I just pulled from stash. I'm gonna pop Bing Cherry in there. That's gonna be really fun. I have Cobblestone, is such a cool thread. I think it's in there very minimally though. So yeah, I'm really excited. The colors are like very inspiring for me and feel very, very fall. So this was such a great idea of Jan's to start this one for Thanksgiving. I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count Footloose from Moonshine Stitchery. That's my channel name, but it's also my linen dyeing brand name. You can find the website link down below. The website is Moonshine Mani, which is my nail polish brand, but the link down below will direct you straight to the page for my linen. So you can see all my linen there. So this one is a very soft kind of ivory with more intense gray modeling. And this one's called Footloose. And this is a 40 count. So that will be added to my WIP wheel, and that is my new start for Thanksgiving 2024. So on the 25th of the month, I stitched on the Swans from Cottage House Sampling. And I actually got quite a bit done. I filled out a lot of this house, and then I did all of this outlining for the swan, because it was like pretty much like that before. So yeah, that was stitching up really fast, just to not even switch flosses. And then I started coming in and filling in this over here. This one is kitted up from stash. I think there may be a couple colors that I had on hand that were called for. This is a piece of, I think it's 18 count, picture this plus, and I'm not sure the color, so I'll put it up here. And it is, my stitches don't lay very flat on this because it's so plump and the holes are kind of a little hard to push through. I'm doing, am I doing 2 strands? Yeah, I'm doing 2 strands on this one. Maybe this is a 16 count. I'll know for sure when I look to see what color it is. But it's just, I decided to go ahead and do this 2 strands over 1 because when I did the fox, which I have already completed as a pillow, I did the 2 strands, so I wanted it to have the same look. And so, but it just makes it, it's just a really, really full stitch, which isn't my norm. So I can hear Tim's football game in the background. Steelers are playing he just told me. I want to say the Tigers, but it's not the Tigers. It's the team that Ocho Cinco used to play for. I know like one team. I know the Steelers. Anyway, so yes, I got a lot done on that, and I was really excited how fast that just zipped along. Bangles, it's the bangles. The next project that I stitched on is Hannah Elliot from Needlework Press. I think Kim was stitching on this. A few other people have had this out lately, and I just was like, oh yeah, I gotta get it out. So this is being stitched with my own stash conversion again. I just had to call my kids to find out what the pounding is. They just have music on and they're dancing. It's not even Tim's game. Sorry, Tim. Okay, so what did I do this time? I believe that I pulled the gate all the way over to the house. I started building out the house. I finished out this guy and the bird on top, and then I started filling in around the dog. So actually I did quite a bit, I think. I think like all of this is new. On my nails today is Looking for Sea Glass from Moonshine Manny. So yeah, this is just really, really fun. I have this on a soft, very light butter with light modeling from Moonshine Stitchery. This one is not on the website yet either, but I really love this kind of color for stitching a sampler if you have a lot of warm colors in your sampler. So yeah, so this is 40 counts. I'm doing 1 strand over 2, and she's just so beautiful. I love this stitch. 2 more whips. On the 21st of each month, I stitch on Fraktur flowers from Kathy Barrick. My daughter picked this project, and so I stitch it on the 21st of every month because she was born on the 21st. And I'm using like half and half called for MPIs, what I had on hand, and then half is Kit Up from Stash. And there's only like 8 colors or something in this piece, so that's really nice. And I just love stitching with the MPIs. So this time I believe I was doing this big blossom here and a little bit more into here and more in here. So not a massive amount done when I'm just stitching on this the one day. This is again a piece that I over dyed, and it's a 40 count, so I'm doing 1 strand over 2. And it's just so beautiful. So this comes out every month. And then on the 30th, I should have stitched on Plum Street Blackberry House for Joy's birthday day, but I didn't. I was stitching on Andale and didn't want to just have like the little hour of stitching that I had for the day before. So then on the 30th, I just kept stitching on it. So sorry, Joy's piece. I love that piece as well, but I just really wanted to get more progress on Andale. My last whip is another stitch along. This is Hometown Sal from Teresa Kogut, and this is really coming along. So I was supposed to, last time I filmed, it was like the 15th or something, and I was supposed to have done a new piece comes out from her for her Tier 4 Patreon members every 15th of the month. So I just stitch on the 15th. But I hadn't done it because I was doing something else. So after that, I took 2 days and I did this month's. So actually, I did October's part, which was like halfway through this house and here, because I'm 1 month behind. So December should take us all the way to the end of here. But every time I get this out, I'm like, okay, this is the month I'm going to catch up. And then I think, nope, I'm done stitching on this. I'm going to move on. So I will be filling out this much this month, And this house was so fun to stitch on. If this looks different, it's because I have kit this up from stash again, so some of my colors are different. But this house was just really, really fun. And then the page cuts right here, so, you know, of course these trees are going to be more filled out. And then we started this house over here. This little apple tree was in this portion. Something blue is coming in right there. I don't know what, but I really like the pottery house. And then this is so much easier to read than this, which I think says gift barn. And then, is that the only one that's super hard? No, this one says tinsmith. It's pretty hard to read as well. So yeah, I might go back in with gift barn and change it to even a lighter color there, but this Sal is really, really fun. And I believe if you join her Patreon now and you join at level 4, you get this, and then you can get every previous month's worth of stitching for $1 in her secret shop or something like that. So yeah, it's just really such a fun stitch. I'm stitching this on Lugana. This is why, like, one of 3 things that's being stitched on Lugana, and I just over dyed it, just kind of an almost solid tanny cobblestone color. And yeah, it's really easy to stitch on. I think it's 28 count, so I'm doing 1 strand over 2 on 28 count. So hi future me, I forgot a WIP and I had so much fun stitching on it, so I didn't want to forget to talk about it. So this is Stacy Nash, the Big Blue House Pin Keep, I think is what it's called. And I'm stitching this on some 46 count that I think I got from Hobby Lobby that I just didn't even over dye or anything. This is a project that I'm stitching to join in with Lizzie the Stitcher for celebrating Stacy Nash for her birthday this last year. This is the one that I chose. And so I kind of filled out the red and took it over to kind of see what the border of this pin keep's gonna look like. And then brought in some more of the cream and blue colors. And then I was working on that roof and the little plant. So I got quite a bit done in my 1 day of stitching on this one. There's my WIP baskets over there. My camera doesn't usually, and a fly swatter show down there. So anyway, but yes, I love this WIP. I love that it's stitched on 46 count. It's really, really fun. And this is using my own conversion again, but this is the progress that I got done on it. Okay, so those were all of my WIPs. Let's talk about haul. I do have a little bit of physical haul this time. I picked up Fig Folk from Plum Street. Those bats are, that's the cutest bat I've probably ever seen. His face is so sweet. And where I grew up in Northern California, we would go for like a family walk a lot of times on Sunday nights. And we would go in the dark. We would all go together. But I come from a family with lots of kids. But the bats were always like swooping over our heads. So I grew up with a lot of bats. I didn't have any land on me or anything, but this makes me think of that. And then I really love the colors in here. It's so nice. And I need to get whatever this trim is. Trim used in chenille and mossy. So it's so pretty. So I got that one. And then I grabbed this from the Blue Flower, the holiday card 2024. I need to go and see what, like, if she has a holiday card from all the other years, because I really like these gingerbread looking houses with the cardinals all over them. Look at the cardinals' big fat bellies. It's so pretty. And then there's probably only like, yeah, 6 or 7 flosses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there's 9. But still. Really cute. Then I just grabbed this one because I've always thought it was so pretty and I had never picked it up. Go Tell It on the Mountain from Heartstring Samplery. And this is stitched on Winter Wren and it looks awesome on that. So I'll have to make something to stitch it on like that. It's like some deep plums and browns and charcoal. Really pretty. Lastly, I picked up Christmas Magic. If you remember, after I finished Summertime from Primrose Cottage, I said I was going to snag another of these square word fonting stitches, and this one is just so cute. Maybe this one will be my Christmas start this year. So, super fun. I love it. And again, very few flosses. Looks like we have 7. Really pretty. And then it's cute. She shows examples of ways that you can break the pattern up and make little other things. So like you can just take the Noel or the Santa or the Merry Christmas or the Hot Cocoa and make a whole bunch of different little smalls. That's so great. I love that. So it's like 5 patterns in one, because you don't have to imagine what it would look like and decide if you think it's good. It just has it there for you already. So that was my haul. So as for Moonshine Stitchery shop news, I do have some new fabric that's going to be added to the website. The first color is, it's a 36 count, and this one's called Beach. And as you can see, it is just a very nice sand color. I would call this like a medium modeling. And each piece is going to be slightly different because everything is dyed by hand, but generally, you know, pretty close to uniform across the batch, just with, you know, modeling in slightly different places. So this has, it's tone on tone modeling. So I first dyed the piece this color, and then I modeled it with a slightly less diluted portion of the dye for the modeling part. So it's tone on tone. This one's called Beach, and it's 36 count. This next one is called Spell, and this one has a kind of gray teal, but like a grunged out, a little bit dirty gray teal, and then again tone on tone modeling. This will be great for any kind of Halloween project that you want to start, or even if you just want to have a sampler on a little bit more interesting color variation. When these come out to you, they will of course be serged. So same story. Each piece is going to be slightly different, but consistent with the same color story. So Rhapsody, which is a new shade that I showed you last week, has been one of our best sellers, and so I got some 32 count and dyed another count size of Rhapsody. This is a soft cream base, and then it has rosy tan modeling, so not tone on tone with this one. And this is just really great for anything that you want to give, any sampler that you want to give a slightly pink, slightly pinky brown background to. Here's another piece of it with just a little bit different modeling, so 32 count. And then last up we have Sailing, and I have this one in 40 count, and I also have it in 18 count Ada. And the Ada dyes very differently than the 40 count. So there's the Ada. And I'll have these with 2 separate pictures on the website. So this one is kind of similar to Rhapsody, but way less of the rosy tone. And instead of having that soft creamy background, this has a very soft white, like off-white background. And this is just another really great sampler shade. And this one is with medium, kind of medium modeling. So yeah. That is Sailing, and I have that in 18 count Ada and 40 count linen. And I dyed a little piece of 46 count for myself that I'm going to be starting a present on, and I'm very excited. That's gonna look super fun. Okay, so next we're going to talk about plans. So I have a new start that I am starting today that I'm super excited about. So Heidi from Whips and Kits, we are going to be starting Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. And I received this pattern as Happy Mail from a sweet friend here on Flosstube. And so we are going to be starting it. And look at the colors. Okay, to be fair, these are, this is my own kit up from Stash. But the colors look very similar to this. I went from the DMC list. I'm going to stitch it on Moonshine Stitchery Beach. And so I've put all sorts of things in there, like every different dyer like I like to do. There's the Cottage Garden Threads. Oh, this floss, this is Mistletoe from Cottage Garden. And I don't know for sure what I'm going to use this for in the pattern, but it's a very Christmassy floss, and I don't really have anything else that needs this sort of look. And so I figured I'm going to try to put it into this project and get some use out of this floss. So we shall see. And then I have some Bestitch Me overdye silk that I overdyed, and you know, just a whole other mishmash. There's even some Gloriana in there from a past project. Oh, I guess I popped 3 Cottage Garden threads in there. There's just all these beautiful teals. It's so fun, teals and golds. So we're gonna start that today. Right after this, I'm gonna start that. I'm gonna pop in some more Christmas movies. Yesterday I was watching Last Christmas. And today I think I'm gonna put on The Holiday. Maybe my favorite Christmas movie. I love that one so much. So this is getting started today. If you wanna join us, definitely do. It's gonna be really fun. On the 3rd of December, Heidi and Kim and I think there's a few other people, are going to be starting the Winter Swan from Brenda Gervais with I Needle and Thread. I don't have that one kitted up yet. And then, so yes, I have a lot of starts this week. On the 8th of December, so next Sunday, I'm going to be starting Felicidades 1 Recuerdos from Needlework Press, and I'm going to stitch it on this piece of fabric. This is a 46 count, and I'm very excited about that. It only calls for like 6 colors, so I just need to grab up some Christmas colors, and I will be ready to go for that. Besides that, I do have specific days I'll be stitching on things. So on the 4th, I'll be stitching on my Artful Offering Americana Sailboat Sampler, and on the 7th, I'll be stitching on my Jeanette Douglas Sailing Stitches, Seaside Stitches. On the 10th, man, I have a lot of days that I'm stitching on specific things. On the 10th, I'm going to be stitching on Pretty Little Paris from Satsuma Street. And on the 13th, we'll see if I feel like stitching on anything Halloween-y. I might just not do the 13th stitching this month. We'll see how I'm feeling. And then next Sunday is when I'll be filming, and that will be the 15th, and a new piece from Teresa Kogut's Sal will be coming out, but I won't be stitching on that before I film this video, so that'll be in the next one. So besides that, if I have any days where I'm not just wanting to continue the previous day's stitch, I like to draw numbers. I like to draw a couple projects so that I have an idea, like just that I don't have to have that decision-making fatigue. So I pull this number 12. I pull this from my 2024 Mania starts, and number 12 is Emmeline Hotchkiss, which I am also stitching with Kim, Contented Needleworker Kim, and Audrey from Stitch Stitch Bead. It looks like that. So I'm very excited to get some more progress on that. And then I use my Tiny Decisions app. This has all my WIPs in it. The little piece of the pie is blacked out if I have rolled it, at least it's supposed to be. And so I spin to see what WIP I stitch on. Memories of the Past, beautiful. So that's this project from Hands Across the Sea, and that will be really nice. That is I'm stitching that on a piece of fabric that Heidi from Whips and Kits dyed for me, and I'm using all the DMC, and there's just a lot of purple in that project, and it's really, really fun. So those are all of my plans. That's what you can anticipate seeing me stitch on, or seeing me share with you next video in 2 weeks. I do have an update for you every 2 weeks. So now that we've talked about all the stitching, if you're not interested in hearing about what I've been reading, but I have some great ones to share with you, then I will see you back for the next video. If you do want some book recommendations, that's what we're going to talk about now. So if you're heading out, thanks for stopping by today. All right, so I can just head to my Audible, and then I go to my listen history on my profile, because some of these books were free books from my Audible membership. Okay, so the last thing that I talked about in my previous video 2 weeks ago, I was reading this little free book, Grimoires and Gingerbread by Danielle Garrett, and it was just a cute, like, cozy little small town mystery. I ended up reading for free 2 other books in that series after that, Mermaids and Meringue, and then Sugar Cookies and Sirens, and they were just okay. They were fine. They were really cute. I think I gave them like a 3.5, but if they weren't for free, I wouldn't be like, oh, you need to read these. I think they were really great for a free read. It's Magical Creature. It's a town where everybody has magic there, but this girl, she works at a baking shop that her family owns, and then she's also like trying to solve some mysteries. She can talk to animals, and it's just cute. It's cute. So the next one that I read after that was Storm and Fury by Jennifer L. Armentrout. If you remember, I was talking about that series that was for free on Amazon, where there was gargoyles and demons and angels and zombies, and it was like a young adult trilogy that I read. This one is kind of a continuation of that story, but you jump to a few different characters, and so it's fantasy, adventure, with a little bit of romance. I think spice level we maybe had like a 0.5, but it kind of further along, more about the gargoyles, who are supposed to be like warden protectors, and then the main character is a girl who nobody knows like what kind of magical creature she is, and you find out eventually, but I don't want to say what she is. But magical creatures, if you're looking for more fantasy, I think I gave that one maybe like another 3.5. It was fine. Okay, then I read a 5-star book. So I told you about a 5-star romance in my last book. It was called The 7-Year Slip. I thought it was really, really cute, well written, and time travel was really interesting in there. So I gave that one a 5 stars. If you hear me say 5 stars, that means I recommend you read this book if you like the genre. So then I found another 5-star. So this is called Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. A few months ago, I told you about a book from that author called Part of Your World. I think I gave it like a 4, and this one, or a 4.5, this one I gave a 5. The author, the writing was so great. She has fleshed out her writing style more. The characters are funny. It deals with anxiety. And the main character, the male main character, was just like so good. So I definitely recommend, if you at all enjoy romance, you will like that one. Then I read 3 books in a series, and I had purchased the first one a while ago. It's called Indigo Ridge, and basically it's like the author watched Yellowstone and then decided to write a book series about a family that lives in Montana on a big ranch. Their family kind of is one of a few families that run these small towns, and there's a little mystery in each of them, but more their romance. And I think I gave them again like a 3.5. So I read Indigo Ridge, then I read Juniper Hill, then Garnet Flats. Each one is a love story for one of the different children in the family, kind of like the Bridgerton books are. So it was cute. Then I read Just for the Summer, again by Abby Jimenez. This continues with a different friend from the original book, and it wasn't quite as good as Yours Truly, but these 2 characters, they both feel like they're cursed, where they date somebody and as soon as they break up, that person meets their forever love, and they find each other on like a Reddit thread and decide to try to break each of their curses together. And it's really cute. Again, great characters. I think I gave this one a 4.5, not quite a 5-star just because I didn't love it quite as much as yours truly, but really, really good. Then I read The Silent Woman. This is by Minka Kent. This one was a free read on Audible Plus and was just like a 3 for me. It was very predictable. Basically, this woman marries a man and his ex-wife is living on the property. She's been harmed and in a way that she can't talk or use her body, and so he's taking care of her and you have to figure out what happened. And it was very predictable. Then I read Red Sister and I loved this. I give this a 4.5. This is a fantasy. Imagine like Harry Potter, but the kids aren't just learning spells and magic, they're also learning to fight. They're all being raised in a convent and it's just girls. So it's like if it were Harry Potter, 9 to 14-year-olds, and it's all just girls. And I really, really liked it. Took me a little bit to get into it, and then it just took off and I loved it. And it's like the camaraderie of a group of friends all working together to do all their different things that they're doing. It's not YA, but you're in the mind of these kind of 11 to 13-year-old girls. And I just thought it was really good. My camera's battery died on me, so I'll just finish. I'm going to definitely continue that trilogy, and that's by Mark Lawrence, and I've seen really great things about him in the fantasy genre, so I definitely want to check out more stuff from him because it was the first thing I've read and from him, and I think that he's really great. So zero spice level, there's no romance. These are like 11-year-old girls, plus they're being raised in a convent. There's not really hardly any religious matter in the book. It's just that just so happens to be where these magical children are being raised. So that's everything that I read in the last 2 weeks. I had such a fun time with all the books that I was trying. So let me know down below what your favorite WIP is this week and what you've been reading that you've been really enjoying. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you were celebrating. I will see you back in 2 weeks. Happy stitching until then. Bye.